It's well known that Wagyu steaks are one of the best in the world. I have here a beautiful A5 Wagyu sirloin steak. I was sent this by my steak club, and they're an online steak buying club and meat buying club for people who like to barbecue. So go check them out, I'll put a link below. And I've had Wagyu before and crossbreed, I've had pure breed Wagyu, but nothing quite as insanely marbled as this. Look how much fat is in that. It's probably more fat than meat. So you have to cook these very, very carefully, and I think we kind of cook them a little bit wrong in the West. We cook a big thick steak and it's all boom and there's so much fat in it. Maybe not the best way to cook it. So we want to get that fat nice and crispy. But if I cook this on a grill over the heat, then the fat will drop onto the coals and I'll lose that fat and it will flare up in an instant. So for me, cooking this in a pan or a hot plancha is the way to go. That way you keep it crispy, you keep it nice and juicy, and you don't lose all that fat to the flame. So that's what we're going to do with this beautiful steak. So it's a very thin steak, so we need to get this on a nice medium-high heat. What I'm going to do is cut off the end of the fat here, and I'm going to use that on my plancha to season. I'm not going to use butter or anything because it adds butteriness. I'm not going to go too much with the salt, but just a gentle sprinkle on both sides of coarse sea salt crystals. I cook this to medium to get the fat in it warmed up. You wouldn't want to cook this to rare because that fat would still be cold. It's important to get that fat moving. So you want it to get it nice and crispy, so a nice hot pan, a nice hot plancha, and then let it rest, which is really important with any steak. So let's have a cut in and see how we've done with this. So you can see the insane fat in there, literally rammed with fat and super juicy. Still a little bit pink, so about medium, which is perfect. And I'm going to go in for a taste. Nice little strips, not a big thick steak, which for me is overkill. Let's have a taste. That literally melts in my mouth. I hardly need to chew it at all. It's not the strongest beefy flavour, but it just tastes like butter. It's amazing and it's delicious, and boy, what an experience. But it doesn't really taste beefy at all for me. It's kind of like eating mostly butter with a bit of meat in there. Definitely an experience. It's so unlike pretty much any steak I've ever had. It's insane. It shocked me, the fattiness in it, the richness of it, the butteriness, but just the more I'm eating it, the more I'm blown away with it, the more I'm surprised by this beautiful steak, and it's just left a lovely flavour on my mouth. Okay, so it's not beefy. I'm really blown away by this. I'm actually really enjoying it and feeling a little bit emotional by it because I've never had beef quite like it. It's not what maybe I would usually go for, but boy is it good. And I think it's probably a once in a lifetime steak to try. And trying all these steaks that I try, the difference is incredible. There's so many variants. You know, there's really beefy ones, there's very subtle ones, there's very fresh ones. Trying them all is a real experience and a life experience that I'm very lucky that I can do. So hope you get a chance to try it too, and let me know what you think. For me, it's all part of the journey. I'm learning more and more about cooking and food, and for me it's the adventure of food and steak, and blown away by this really. It's delicious. The guys here are looking at me and thinking he's eating all the steak now, so I can see them giving daggers.